So it's important to say, in conclusion, that Thucydides, quite frankly, was wrong, and then scholars were wrong for the longest of time um, about these tablets, about the linear B tablets specifically, and that they did, in fact, represent sort of a very early type of Greek language. We now believe that the linear A was used for the Minoans. They were eventually conquered. The Mycenaeans would take that script and use it for themselves and apply it to their language, change it a bit so it fit their language, just like we use the Latin alphabet but for the English language. It should also be kept in mind that, though, that not everybody was literate. These we think there's about 30 to 35 hands that were being used. So these were it was just a scribal language. And though we find some markings on pots to show that was what the containers were, there's not a lot of writing on them. And so we think that, once again, don't presume that the whole society could read these things. It was not like Mesopotamia. Just the people in the palaces, and that this script would fall out of use early on. Syllabaries are a bit cumbersome, but it's one way of doing things, of keeping records. And finally, it shows that Greek is a very old language, and it's up there with Chinese or Hebrew, but it was spoken continuously. For example, Hebrew though it was spoken continuously, it was basically preserved by the rabbis until the Zionist movement of the late 19th and early 20th century. Greek has been widely spoken. Now, of course, changes over time. If you speak modern Greek, it doesn't mean you have an in on ancient Greek. And the ancient Greek didn't even have a close in on Homer. I mean, Homer is going back to a very early type of Greek. But it does show the tenacity of the language. So we need to appreciate that and appreciate the work that Michael Ventris did.